Sometimes in this life we get so tired, both physically and spiritually, maybe even emotionally. We get so drained by a lot of things, a lot of experiences that we go through. We can be busy doing this and that, running from this place to that place, so busy trying to make ourselves comfortable, trying to sustain ourselves. But the truth of the matter is that at some point, we shall feel drained, we shall feel burnt out, and we need to be revitalized. We need to be re-energized. The same way that we charge our phones. It can be 100%, but at some point it will come low, and you have to recharge it. We also need to be re-energized in that manner. Because if we continue working and working and working without paying attention to the state of our spirit, to the state of our soul, even to the state of our physical health, we might just drop dead. And when we talk about this in the Christian circles, we talk about the significance of having a relationship with Jesus in our lives. Jesus is the food that we have for our spiritual journey. Jesus is the one that re-energizes us when we feel depressed, when we feel stressed by this and that, when we feel drained and tired. When we have that relationship with Jesus, we are comforted and we are given the energy that we need again to continue working. The gospel that we listen to today typically describes the Eucharist, or the theology of the Eucharist, and the significance of the Eucharist in our lives, on our spiritual journey. Jesus refers to himself as the bread of life that has come down from heaven. And he says, if anyone eats of this bread, he will live forever. Jesus typically begins to talk about him being the Eucharist, him being the food that we can eat on our journey for us to have the energy that we need to go on. Maybe the question that we can ask ourselves at this point is that when we feel tired, when we feel stressed, when we feel depressed, what do we take in for us to be re-energized, for us to continue living? Where do we find our consolation? Where do we find our solace when life hits us hard? When we can't go on and on working? Where do we get, or do we draw our energy from for us to continue working? We are reminded today to have a relationship with Jesus. We might not have the opportunity to receive him in the Eucharist, as many we know do not have that opportunity. But that doesn't mean that we can't still have Jesus as our closest companion on our journey. That doesn't mean that we can't still have a relationship with Jesus such that we draw our energy from there for us to continue working. It's a challenge to you and I, that whenever we feel that depressed and stressed, we need to go to Jesus and ask for that strength. Jesus should be our only closest companion on this, our journey. Otherwise, we shall just drop and die. And when you say drop and die, not just physically, but also spiritually. And we might miss the opportunity of entering heaven. Amen.